Another day, another story. The 30 Years' War was a devastating conflict that occurred in Europe between 1618 and 1648. It primarily took place in the territory of the Holy Roman Empire, which roughly corresponds to modern-day Germany and surrounding regions, but it involved many of the major European powers of the time. The war originated from a complex web of religious, political, and territorial disputes. At its core, it was fueled by tensions between Catholics and Protestants, as well as struggles for power and dominance among various European states and their rulers. Welcome to Tabo Eminent Channel. Key events and phases of the war included: Bohemian Phase, 1618–1625. The conflict began in Bohemia, in present-day Czech Republic, when Protestant nobles rebelled against the Catholic Habsburg ruler, King Ferdinand II. This phase ended with the Catholic victory at the Battle of White Mountain in 1620. Danish Phase, 1625–1629. Denmark intervened on the Protestant side, but after initial successes, it was defeated by the Catholic forces led by the Holy Roman Emperor Ferdinand II and the Catholic League. Swedish Phase, 1630–1635. Sweden, under King Gustavus Adolphus, entered the war on the Protestant side. Gustavus Adolphus's military innovations and successes shifted the balance of power in favor of the Protestants, but he was killed in battle in 1632. French intervention, 1635–1648. France, although Catholic, entered the war against the Habsburgs due to its geopolitical interests. The conflict increasingly became more about power politics than religious differences. The Treaty of Westphalia, signed in 1648, ended the war and redefined the political and religious landscape of Europe. Origins and Bohemian Phase, 1618–1625. The roots of the conflict can be traced back to the Reformation in the 16th century, which led to religious divisions in Europe between Catholics and Protestants. In 1618, tensions in Bohemia reached a boiling point when Protestant nobles, fearing the erosion of their religious rights and privileges under the Catholic Habsburg ruler, King Ferdinand II, rebelled against his authority. This revolt, known as the Defenestration of Prague, marked the beginning of the 30 Years' War. The Bohemian Phase saw initial successes for the Protestant forces, but they were eventually defeated by the Catholic forces at the Battle of White Mountain in 1620. This defeat led to the re-establishment of Catholic authority in Bohemia and marked the beginning of Habsburg dominance in the conflict. Danish Phase, 1625–1629. In 1625, King Christian IV of Denmark intervened on the Protestant side, seeking to challenge Habsburg power and protect Protestant interests. Initially, the Danish forces achieved some success, but they were ultimately defeated by the combined forces of the Holy Roman Empire and the Catholic League. The Peace of Lübeck in 1629 ended the Danish phase and resulted in the expulsion of Danish forces from the Holy Roman Empire. Swedish Phase, 1630–1635. Following the defeat of Denmark, the Swedish king, Gustavus Adolphus, intervened on the Protestant side in 1630. Gustavus Adolphus's military genius and innovative tactics brought significant successes for the Protestant forces. His victories, notably at the Battle of Breitenfeld in 1631 and the Battle of Lutzen in 1632, shifted the momentum in favor of the Protestants. However, Gustavus Adolphus was killed in the Battle of Lutzen, and his death marked a turning point in the war. Despite his death, Sweden continued to be a major player in the conflict. French intervention and Peace of Westphalia, 1635–1648. As the war dragged on, other European powers became involved for various reasons, including geopolitical interests and a desire to contain Habsburg power. France, although Catholic, supported the Protestant side against the Habsburgs. The conflict increasingly became a struggle for political and territorial dominance rather than a purely religious war. The Peace of Westphalia, signed in 1648, ended the war. It recognized the independence of the Dutch Republic and Switzerland and granted extensive autonomy to various German states within the Holy Roman Empire. It also marked the decline of the Holy Roman Empire's authority and the emergence of a new balance of power in Europe. Religious and political context. The 30 Years' War was deeply intertwined with the religious and political tensions that characterized Europe in the early 17th century. The Peace of Augsburg in 1555 had established the principle of cuius regio, eius religio, whose realm, his religion, allowing German princes to choose between Catholicism and Lutheranism for their territories. However, this did not recognize Calvinism as a legitimate religion, leading to further discontent among Protestant groups. Military tactics and innovations. The war witnessed significant advancements in military tactics and technologies. Gustavus Adolphus of Sweden, for instance, introduced reforms such as the use of combined arms tactics, disciplined infantry formations, and mobile artillery. These innovations revolutionized warfare in Europe and had a lasting impact on military strategies. Impact on civilians. The 30 Years' War brought immense suffering to civilians across Europe. Armies ravaged the countryside, plundering and pillaging villages and towns. Famine and disease were rampant, leading to widespread death and displacement. The war's atrocities and horrors are vividly depicted in contemporary accounts and have left a lasting scar on European memory. Diplomatic maneuvering. Throughout the conflict, European powers engaged in intricate diplomatic maneuvering to advance their interests. France, for example, supported Protestant states against the Habsburgs to prevent their dominance in Europe. Cardinal Richelieu, the chief minister of France, pursued a policy of realpolitik aimed at weakening the Habsburgs and enhancing French power. Role of mercenaries. Mercenaries played a significant role in the 30 Years' War, forming the backbone of many armies. These hired soldiers were often motivated by plunder and payment rather than loyalty to a cause. Their presence exacerbated the violence and brutality of the conflict, leading to widespread destruction and suffering. Legacy and consequences. The 30 Years' War left a profound legacy that shaped European politics and society for centuries to come. It marked the end of the religious wars that had ravaged Europe since the Reformation and paved the way for the rise of secular nation-states. The Peace of Westphalia established the principle of state sovereignty and recognized the autonomy of individual states within the Holy Roman Empire. It also contributed to the decline of the Habsburg dynasty's power and the rise of France as a dominant European power. In summary, the 30 Years' War was a multifaceted and transformative conflict that reshaped the geopolitical and religious landscape of Europe. Its legacy continues to be felt to this day, serving as a cautionary tale of the devastating consequences of war and the importance of diplomacy in resolving conflicts. Overall, the 30 Years' War was a complex and devastating conflict that reshaped the political and religious landscape of Europe. It had profound and long-lasting effects, including the establishment of the principle of state sovereignty and the beginning of the modern nation-state system. The 30 Years' War had devastating consequences, including widespread destruction, famine, and disease. It significantly weakened the power of the Holy Roman Empire and the Habsburg dynasty, while also leading to changes in the balance of power among European states. Thanks for watching. Request you to subscribe the channel.